Batter up.
Rog and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rog and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stats and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a new episode of NY MLB Talk with your hosts Rob and Chris as we cover the Mets, Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you're on YouTube right now, hit that sub button. We would really appreciate it. And if you want to hit that bell, you will know when we come on. So it'll be a lot easier to find us. And if you want to find us on Twitter or on TikTok, it's at NYMLB Talk. Rob is at R Maraska. I'm at CP7NY. And Rob, we have a great guest today. Why don't you bring him on so we can start talking some baseball?
Yeah, definitely. We have my good friend Rick Lewis on, and I can't wait to talk to him about the Nationals, even though we know what kind of year the Nationals are going to have this season. But we're going to talk about the Nats. He knows so much about baseball, so we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about everything. But before we start, I just want to thank Madison last night for having me and Chris on her show, Generational Run Yankee podcast. I got to get my chops busted for an hour by both of them. It wasn't too bad. They were pretty good. So we want to thank Madison for having us on. It was really a lot of fun. And there it is. If you want to catch the replay, check her out on YouTube. It was a really fun show. I had a good time, and they were really good. They didn't bust me too much. So
we like Rob.
Yeah, good thing, because they really could have gave it to me. Anyway, so Rick, how's everything going? You were in spring training a couple of weeks ago, right? You went down and you saw the Nats play the Marlins.
Right. Yeah. First of all, thanks guys for having me on. It's going to be fun. I actually I had scheduled 2 games, and they coincidentally happened to be both Nats and Marlins. First one was rained out, unfortunately, so I went to another one. One thing I noticed, and tell me if you feel the same way. It seemed like in spring training, it's more individualized. You know, they don't really cheer for teammates. It's more like, you know, because when it comes down to it, doesn't really matter who wins the game. This is for, you know, trying out for a team. Whereas in the regular season, it seems like they're more together and they cheer for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris, about that?
Yeah, I think so. Spring training, I'm sure the fans kind of take it kind of laid back too. And, you know, they're there obviously to see their team, but you know what, whoever's playing on the other team, you know, you're not going to really boo them. Like you said, the games don't really matter. So now's a chance to check out, you know, if you're playing against one of your rivals, like, oh, this is one of the, you know, they're good players. So we don't have to boo them right away, but
yes,
we know we're going to
time.
save that, right? We're going to save that for the regular season. But yeah, I think I think you're absolutely right. I don't think you boo, you know, the other team. You just kind of like, oh, okay, that's, you know, whoever. Like if you're at a Nationals game, you know, you can like, oh, there goes, you know, Juan Soto. That's a great player. We had him. I'm not going to boo the guy. So,
yeah.
And yeah, sorry, Rick. And for the first time in a while, Chris, we have a couple of idiots that we got to get out of the studio there. If you see, I gotta watch what I read. I mean, what I put up. But anyway, go ahead, Rick. I agree with you.
Unfortunately, this was one of the last games of spring training, and I'm thinking maybe when it's the last couple of days, they're gonna send, you know, the star players up north, and see, maybe you won't see some of the star players down south. And it seems to me there's more split squad games this year. I don't know. It's just my impression. But with that said, one thing I like about spring training is you can get right up close. And I got a seat right behind the Nats dugout. I was like 5 feet away from James Wood, so that was cool. put my beer right up on the dugout, put my feet up. That was
Nice.
you can't do that in regular season.
No, definitely not. Very cool.
But so it was fun going, but I don't really have much takeaway, because even there were a few star players that played, but they got one at bat, they got a couple innings in the field, not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah, and plus, you don't have such a good feel about the Nats. Let's face it, this season.
Yeah.
It's rebuilding. Like you said off the show before, kind of almost like minor league baseball. But but you have some exciting players. Like Wood. That kid's great. What are your impressions about him?
He's great sometimes, not so great other times. He was very good first half of last year, very bad second half, when it seemed like the pitchers caught up to him and he wasn't able to adjust. So the question here is, which Wood are we going to see? I think that he has to show himself as a superstar this year for this rebuild to continue. If he doesn't, if he stays at kind of pretty good, it kind of puts a stall on the rebuild, and that's going to frustrate Nats fans even further, because Rob, you said this was a rebuild. This is actually the second rebuild since the World Series.
Right.
The first didn't go well at all, and that's why that regime got fired. Brought in these new guys, or kids, I guess, and we'll see how this goes. And I don't know. The jury's still out. This is definitely a different approach for the Nats, because they're. I think this is probably their first. I'm searching for a word. What's if a team is more into numbers and stats? What kind of
analytical?
Yeah, that. So
Yes,
it's more analytical, and so I think for this year it's going to be different for me as a Nats fan, because they're going to make a lot of changes based on, well, let's see, there's a lefty throwing, and he throws usually curves. Let's see who does best against that kind of pitch, and so there's going to be a lot of throw a lot of stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, but you got to remember, most teams, if not all teams, are into analytics now. So that is the league now, for better or for worse, right? The analytical stuff is what they go by now. It's not old school scouting. There's still old school scouts out there, scouting the players, but for the majority, they go by their analytical numbers. Some that we know, some of them we really don't know what formulas they use and all this stuff. It doesn't make sense to me either, but this is what the league is. It is now. This is what the game is now with baseball. But getting back to their original rebuild, when they traded Soto, right? When you look at the players that they got, I had to double check. They traded Juan Soto and Josh Bell to the Padres. They got back Harlan Susana, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel III, Luke Voigt, and James Wood. Now, James Wood, obviously a star. Mackenzie Gore, now, we could see, like, you're talking about the second rebuild.
Yeah.
They've already traded him away, right?
Right.
Solid pitcher. I'm not saying he's, maybe he hasn't lived up to the top billing that he was getting, but he's definitely.
But he had a solid year, and we got a couple promising prospects, 2 or 3, I guess.
Yeah, the other guys, Robert Hassel III and C.J. Abrams. Now, C.J. Abrams he's a guy that's not quite gotten to there yet, right? I mean, he's playing, but
I think they like him on offense. They have questions about him at shortstop, and that's why they were thinking about putting him on the trade market. But they haven't yet. I don't know what they're going to do with shortstop, but if they do trade him, there's a top-rated guy they got back for Gore, and also the #1 pick from last year. He's a shortstop also. So they have some options there. Not for this year, of course. But one thing I wanted to bring up about the new regime is that here's something that happened that probably wouldn't have happened under the old management, and that is with Dylan Cruz. So Dylan Cruz was picked second, second to Skeens a couple years ago. What was that, 2022 maybe?
Yeah.
And so in 2 years, maybe a year and a half, because he was hurt some, he only batted .210.
Right.
And he didn't do any better this spring. Now, if you're Mike Rizzo, the previous GM, you might, since you picked him, you may think, let me give him some more rope, right, and see what he does with it. But this new regime has no ties to him, and I think so. They sent him down to AAA since he wasn't doing well. So I think that's a big statement for them that they care more about, which they should. They care more about accountability than how high you were drafted.
Right.
Yeah, that does make sense, but it's hard going through 2 rebuilds in 7 years, 8 years. It's just listen, believe me, I know I've been through it all with the Mets.
The problem is though is that they've missed also on their picks, like Drews, like you said. Dylan Cruz was a miss. Another guy, Brady House, right, the third baseman, he hasn't quite lived up to the high picking either.
Well, maybe not, but he had a solid spring.
Solid, right? Okay.
I think we're very very happy with him so far this year.
And what about Hassel? Well, what do you think? What do you think of him?
Hassel, I think he had an up and down spring. He was one of the last. He was one of the last cuts. I expect he'll be one of the first call ups. Because I don't think he's in the same category as Dylan Cruz in that he wasn't hitting that well. He was hitting okay. Right. They're hoping he can do better. You might even see Hassel up before you see Cruz up.
That's interesting.
And what do you think? Listen, the Nats had a pretty good opening series against the Cubs, right? They went 2-1, so they won 2 games out of a Cubs team that we think the Cubs are gonna do very well.
Pretty highly rated, yeah.
Yeah, we think. But how about Joey Weimer? What do you think about him?
I was going to bring him up. It's Weimer, by the way. But
Weimer. I'm sorry, you're right.
Did you know that he's batting 1,000? His on base percentage is 1,000, and he's got 2 home runs. So he's in the lead for MVP.
And also
right now,
yeah. Also to note, I'd never heard his name a month ago.
Okay, but check this out too. He's the first player in Nats history and Montreal Expo history, because they're always lumping it together, which is crazy. When I look at some stats online and you look up Gary Carter, and they have, instead of Montreal, they have Washington. That just that stuff like that pisses me off. Right. But anyway, he's the first player in Nats history to reach base in each of his first 8 appearances.
Right.
And yesterday he just missed the cycle. He hit a triple, single, and home run. Yeah. So I mean, so far so good. We know what happens a lot of times when they start off really hot like this. It doesn't last.
You're right. Yes.
We've seen it a million times.
Yeah. So we're not putting that much stock in. We're just joking around. But
you gotta listen. But he's play him while he's hot. And just ride him, right, as long as you can. He was actually a top prospect with Milwaukee, and then I think they.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Okay. Then I think they traded him or whatever to Cincinnati.
He's been on like 5 teams.
Yeah, he's kind of bounced around a little bit, but maybe he's finally putting it together. You never know. Finally settling in. But all right, we know this year is not going to look good for Washington, probably, especially in that division's really tough. Those top 3 teams, even the Marlins actually look pretty good. So what are your thoughts going forward, like past this season for the Nats? For the Nats, do you feel like they're in a better position now with the upper management that they have, like the GM and all that?
I think it remains to be seen. I think the talk is good, but we'll have to see what happens. I don't have a whole lot of basis for this, but I'm thinking their plan is that in year 3 they will be playoff competitive, and then maybe year 4 compete for the division. But I need to see what this pitching staff can do, because very few of the starters for this year were even on the team last year.
Right.
I think Brady House is going to have a breakout year. I'm hoping that we'll see the James Wood from the first half of the season rather than the second half. Weimer, that's anybody's guess, but he's doing fine so far. Let's see, was somebody else? Cade Cavalli. The guy they threw him out there for game 1. He was a high draft pick, but he's been hurt a lot, so no one was really sure what we had in him. But there were some good signs in spring training, so it wasn't a complete surprise that he had a good outing in game 1. But here's one thing I wanted to bring up about Weimer's again, that kind of relates to the new management. So they're going to pick people to be in the lineup based on what team they're playing, what pitcher is coming at them.
Yeah.
Okay? So just because, and this may differ for your guys' teams, just because you have a good day one day doesn't even mean you'll start the next day. And so we're talking about Weimer's. He played in game 1, game 3. They benched him for game 2.
Yeah. That's
not because production, but because, I don't know, they saw something in the numbers.
Right.
Yeah, I'm old school when it comes to this stuff. Chris knows that. It drives us crazy with this. It's too much of the analytics, really is. It's taken over. And we know firsthand the managers aren't even in control of anything really. It's called in from the front office. It's called in from those baseball people. We know for a fact because we've had managers on here tell us, right, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you mean dictating who's going to start the next game or what?
A lot of times, everything, Rick.
Oh.
Not only that, when they're going to pull somebody out, who's going to pinch it. It's not the same. Let's put it this way: it's you couldn't have Earl Weaver could not manage in this baseball.
No,
he
would not tolerate that, right?
Yeah, because he would not tolerate it. And I don't know. Listen, they're probably not doing that to Terry Francona in Cincinnati. I mean, I don't think so. But they're doing it to a lot of these young managers. They are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? There was a big article in the Athletic last week, and it was basically saying that the Yankees still let Aaron Boone makes up the lineup, right? But he's a big analytical guy, so he's going by the numbers. But he'll sit down with his bench coach, Brad Ausmus, and they'll go over the lineup with the numbers and say, okay, I like this, I like this matchup, whatever. But for the most part, they're using analytics as well, regardless, right? And that was, like when Girardi was with the Yankees, all the fans hated it. Like, oh, he had his little book and he was going by, the numbers. But that's how baseball is being managed now, right? From the lineup, and like Rob said, they're telling these guys, okay, in the 6th inning, if he's over 95, 100 pitches, we got to get the starter out. Okay, we got to get that bullpen guy in. He can't go more than 40 pitches, right, or whatever. So it's more scientific than like your gut, right? Like a lot of managers back in the day would go by their gut sometimes. They're like, you know what, this guy doesn't look good right now. Let's take him out.
And so
Now
that's
they
why.
might say, let him out. You know,
Excuse me. So that's why you might be watching the game. You might see your pitcher pitching well for 6 innings,
right?
but at the end of 6 innings, your analytics are telling you he's going to fall off. So bring in somebody else. So a fan might look at that and say, "What are you taking him out for? He's doing well."
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly it. And it's crazy because that's not the type of baseball that we're used to, but that's the way it is, the wave of the future. I don't like it because a pitcher tomorrow, somebody could be throwing 7 innings of no-hit baseball, right? And because it's the beginning of the year and the analytical team is figuring stuff out, there's a chance that they're going to try to pull that guy out. That's why there's been more, combined no-hitters in recent years than just regular no-hitters, because this is what they do now. It's crazy. And, they think they're safe, all right, they have a lot invested in these pitchers, all players, but in these pitchers, let's just go to pitching staff. They have so much money invested. They're so worried about their arms and innings pitched if they're pitching too many innings, so they're pulling them. But meanwhile, is this hurting them? Because now you're seeing more injuries on pitchers than you've seen before. Is this what's hurting them? What do you guys think? Chris, you first, and then Rick, the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's hurting them because they have the science to back it up, right? So they'll always go back to their science or their analytics and say, look, these guys can't throw more than 100 pitches every game, right? Otherwise, they're going to blow their shoulder, their arm out, their shoulder, whatever. So I think no matter what we think, they're always going to say we got the science behind our decisions. Like, we're making our decisions based on analytics, science, and all this stuff. We're bringing it all together, and they figured, hey, after 100 pitches, these guys have to come out. There's no more. There's no more Nolan Ryan back in the day throwing 150, 160 pitches a game.
Yeah,
like he did okay. The guy was never hurt, but he might be the outliner. I don't know, but
right. So your results may vary, right? So some guy could be pitching very well. You take him out because of analytics, and Rob and I are saying, what the hell's going on? But we don't know if he's going to get injured the next inning. He may get injured next inning.
Right.
So I wouldn't be able to answer your question, Rob. I don't know if that person anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the old school guys we have on don't like it, obviously, because they would pitch till their arms. They did it. Yeah, they would pitch until their arms fell off, and they don't like it, and they tell us they don't like it. And like Joe Dell said, hi Joe, he likes old school baseball. Yeah, I agree with you, but things are different. And hi Dan, we saw you out there. Thanks for being out there all the time. We really appreciate it. But go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean that's where we're at right now, and you know what? I wonder if they did let these guys, just keep throwing, whether it was 100, 120 pitches, 130 pitches, like maybe they wouldn't get hurt. We don't know, and I don't think they're going to ever push these guys to that limit anymore.
We'll never know.
Especially the top guys, especially with all the money they're making, right? Yeah. I mean, you got guys making $30-40 million now as players, so they're not going to blow that, by saying, oh, let's risk it. Let's give this guy one more inning at 120 pitches or 130 pitches. I don't know if they'll do that anymore with the money that's out there.
Yeah, and actually, we may not. If a pitcher gets taken out after he's doing well, we may think it's analytics. Maybe the pitcher is telling the manager, yeah, I feel this soreness in my shoulder.
Yeah,
maybe that's the reason he gets taken out.
That's true. Chris, you see this comment?
Exactly. Yeah, I remember that game.
I remember that.
I remember that game. I wonder. It was hot as hell that game. That I remember. Yep. It was your normal July 4th, 100-degree day at Yankee Stadium. And you got the no-hitter against Boston. But yeah, no, I remember that. It's something that we probably won't see ever again, depending on how many pitches he threw. But if the guy's not under 100 pitches by the 8th inning, we see it all the time. They usually take these guys out, you know, and look what happened. And they'll go with the science and prove it to us and say, look what happened with Johan Santana with the Mets, right?
Yeah.
He throws that no-hitter, and what happens? Never
That was it.
And so, Rob, you were talking about baseball in the old days. They just had starters, and they had, well, I don't know if they even called it a closer back then, but there was no middle relief. It was get the starter out there until he can no longer stand up or whatever. Then they put in the closer. Now we have all these roles set up and closer.
Yeah, though you're right, because first of all, the pitchers usually at least made it to the 7th inning, right? And they, like,
well, if they're pitching well, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't pulling like Seaver out. You weren't pulling Gibson out. You weren't pulling Steve Carlton or Jim Palmer out of the games. You just weren't. And they wouldn't, they would argue with the manager back then. Then you would have like a mop-up guy, and they weren't really calling them closers, but like for the Mets, they had Tug McGraw, and then he went to the Phillies, and they had like this guy Skip Lockwood, and the Yankees had, well, Rigetti eventually turned into a reliever, but the Yankees had Sparky Lyle. He was basically considered their closer. But it wasn't like it was today, where it's specialized. A guy will come in for one batter. Well, now, what do they got to pitch 3, Chris?
Oh, do
they?
Yeah.
You need to see at least three batters when you brought in, unless you end the inning.
Yeah, another stupid thing, another thing that I don't agree with, but we rarely talk about that. It used to be a game of chess, where the manager would bring someone in just to face one guy, and then that would be it. But of course, because they can't, the younger kids, you can't keep them, interested in anything if it's moving a little slower. So they had to speed up the game. But yeah, Rick, I know what you're saying. It's true. It's more, everything. It's more specialized now than it was.
Yeah.
But okay. So Chris, what else did you want to ask Rick? You had a couple of things.
Yeah, no, just about the Nationals. Like, we were talking a little about their players. What do you think of James Wood? Do you think this kid's a legit superstar, or do you think it's a flash in the pan, or do you think he's going to continue to develop and get even better than what he is now?
Yeah, I think he is a legit superstar, but he will still have to prove it. We've seen him the beginning of last year play like a superstar. We just need him to continue that, and so I think if he's able to continue that, I wonder what role the new management will have in that. Again, we'll have to give them some credit if he can continue this, right? I think he will. I hope he will prove himself as a superstar.
I mean, like you said, he had a really good first half of the season last year. Then he went downhill. I mean, when the first half of the season, yeah, he sort of was like the whole Mets team last year, pretty good first half, and then they just died. So, but I liked him the first half of the season. He was
well.
Really...
Do you think? All right, here's the more important question. Do you think he's going to be part of a team? You think he's going to be part of the Nationals long term? Or do you see this in 3 years, he's going to be that guy that they're going to trade and kind of rebuild around again? Like, what?
I hope we don't go into a third rebuild. No,
right, what are your feelings right now?
I'm thinking I'm going to choose the former. I'm going to choose that he sticks with them long term. Instead of going the way of Soto, if they do that again, they're going to start hemorrhaging fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And Dan, yes, Goose Gossage too. We can't forget about Goose Gossage.
Goose is a good example, right, of the bullpen guys or the closers then and now. Like Goose Gossage used to throw 2 or 3 innings to get the save, right? Like they would bring him in the 7th inning to close out the game, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Now closers pitch 1 inning, right? They come in the 9th inning, get you 3 outs. They make a big production with a song when they come in and all that. But it's such a different way to manage now than it was then. to now with the closer at least too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Gossage, it was amazing that he could go 3 innings throwing all those fastballs.
Yep.
Their arms. Yeah, their arms just they were like rubber. They had rubber arms, these players. It was amazing. All right, we're gonna get into a couple of funny things for a second. Chris, why don't you bring up that first picture of the food? Rick, have you ever or would you ever eat the well, I think it's new, so you haven't. Would you ever eat this nacho average Sunday that the Nats unveiled?
So it's nachos and ice cream?
It looks like it, yeah.
I would try it, yeah.
Broken up, actually, right?
What's that?
It looks like a cone that was broken up and that was put in. So it looks like
so it's cone. It's not nacho per se.
Like.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
definitely. I would try it. Yeah.
Okay, so he definitely would try that.
You know it comes in the helmet, right? So anything in a
like
baseball helmet is probably definitely going to be good.
Anything that comes in a batting helmet, you gotta love, right?
Yeah.
And what's that other one, Chris?
Even a Nationals helmet. No.
Yeah. And the other. All right, this is the it's the lobster mac and cheese hot dog. Have you ever had one of those?
No, I haven't heard of that. Who's doing that?
That is I have to find that out.
I would definitely try that.
That's Stuggy's crab mac and cheese dog. It's got a hot dog in there hidden.
Cool. But is some team
that's the Nats. Yeah, that's the Nats. They have
you definitely gotta try that. That one looks good too.
Yeah, that one.
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, I guess there's a concession in Nationals Park called Stuggy's. And that's their crab mac and cheese dog. I definitely would try that. Joe Dell says yuck to that, but I don't know. That looks pretty good.
I'm for that one. That one looks really.
Well, you
good.
know what? If the Nats do as poorly as I think, I probably will be looking more at the food during the game.
That's why they got to have. That's why they got it.
The food options here. We got to try these out.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, all right. I want to go to Baltimore for a second with the Orioles. What do you think about the Orioles signing Pete Alonso? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would prefer that the Nats signed him, but I think that fills a big gap for them. I don't think they would have had a chance. I don't know what kind of chance they have now at winning the division, but I think they can. I think that with Alonso, they have a chance of, if not win the division, certainly getting a wild card and having a pretty good season.
Yeah, that stung Met fans for a while, but I think Pete really pissed off management when he didn't sign that contract that they offered him, right, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, the one a couple of years ago, that first big one that they offered him, and he turned that down. I think from that point on, it's been kind of sour, and I think Alonso. I don't think he wanted to leave per se, but I don't think the Mets really wanted to sign him after that, because it was like, hey, we just offered you a great extension here and you turned it down. What else do you want us to do? Kind of. So it was almost like a slap in the face to them. But Baltimore looks pretty good. I think their pitching is going to be solid if everybody could, goes back to health with these teams, with any top team, well, except for the Dodgers, because they just got pitchers growing on trees out there. But
that's right. Yeah.
But I think, most teams are, if they could stay healthy, you know what? They're going to be a pretty good team. So I think the O's got a chance. They are in probably the toughest division in baseball, the AL East.
Definitely.
But
I think they'll do good things this year.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, now it is the AL East is the toughest division now, especially since the National League East, the Braves. Like I said, we were talking about this before. The Phillies are old as far as I'm concerned, and we do not know we don't know how Wheeler's going to be coming back from that surgery. They're counting on him, but we don't know how he's going to be. It could go either way. And the Braves, we know what problems the Braves have with the injuries and then Profar. So I'm not even worried about, and I better watch what I say, but I'm not even worried about the Braves this year. And I'm picking the Mets to win that division. Now
you think the both the Braves and the Phillies are, should we say, comfortably below the Mets in the standings? They will be?
Or are they going to be? That's just, I'm getting that feeling now. And Chris is laughing because, the Braves, their pitching staff is really hurt. And listen, it could happen to anyone. The Mets tomorrow, right. The Mets could have a couple injuries and, there we go, but the Mets have a better farm system. That's for sure. And they'll get the players that they need. So I'm very, very high on the Mets right now. There's only one person, and I'm going to bring this up, that I have to question, and I did it last night when we were guests on that other show. But what is with Richard Lovelady, right, Chris, with the Mets? What is with that guy?
Did they cut him today? I thought I seen it a couple of times pop up on social media that they did DFA him or they sent him down. So. Yeah, he's a lefty, right? We said that.
Yes.
Lefty pitchers in the bullpen, they'll last forever. As long as they stay healthy and throwing strikes, they're probably gonna hang around somewhere. Mm-hmm. But listen, I think you can't overlook the Phillies and the Braves just because of who they have on their teams, right? They're a good team. Right, they are beaten up like the Braves, like you said. Their rotation's beaten up, but if they could get healthy, that's going to be a team you got to look out for, right? They got Acuna back, and we know what Acuna could do when he's healthy, and especially the rest of that lineup is really good. The Phillies are the Phillies, right? These older players, if they're going to squeeze out one more good year, this might be it. Trey Turner and Realmuto and Harper and Schwarber. Schwarber just got paid, so it's just teams that you can't just overlook, right? So I wouldn't. You might be right. You might end up being right, Rob. I'm not saying you're wrong. I would just hate to overlook these guys because then they're gonna hang around all year. They're gonna have their bumps in the road, but they're just gonna hang around all year, and then who knows? By the All-Star break, one of them makes a big trade and gets somebody like. What if Detroit decides to trade Skubal because they can't sign him, right? He becomes that wild card. Whoever gets him is going to, just boost their team. So you just never know. It's just crazy how big. It's such a long season. It's so hard to predict. That's why I'm like, you just don't know, right? Especially in that division with those guys, proven players, anything. And Miami might, who knows? Maybe the Marlins might step it up this year, right? Because they kind of closed out last year on a high note. So they
did, yeah. They were really strong. Did you guys know that CBS Sports updated their power rankings today?
No,
I didn't see them yet. No.
So they had the Yankees third, they had the Mets eighth, and the Nats up from 29th to 23rd.
Okay,
for what that's worth.
That's not bad. You're climbing.
Hey, listen, the Nats had a good series against the Cubs, and the Cubs. I think the Cubs will probably take. I picked the Cubs over Milwaukee in that division, so we'll see what happens. But the Nats are always pain in the necks to the Mets too, and the Marlins are. But this is a whole different Mets team, so I can't even go there. What's Dan say? Oh, Pete said he liked the Baltimore clubhouse. Well. Yeah, that's kind of funny because of the Mets clubhouse last year, but of course,
if that was a little
dig.
Was that a little dig you get? Right, I think so.
I think so.
Of course, was that a reference to infighting or something?
Yeah, that was by Pete, not by Dan.
Okay.
In the Mets clubhouse, supposedly last year there was a lot of infighting. Like I've said on previous shows, I'm sure Jeff McNeil had some fights with some people, but.
Hey, we talked about it last night with Madison, right, on her show. Of course, they're not going to be happy. They had a bad season, right? There's a team that should have made the playoffs. It should have went a lot further than they did. So they probably weren't happy, and they probably got in each other's face like, hey, I'm doing something. Why don't, whatever. It probably happened. It's just, it's just normal for a team that was struggling last year when they know they're they should be much better than what they were.
Right. When do you think if there's a team that you're following and they did worse than expected, wouldn't you kind of want them to, get at each other?
Yeah.
You want them to be pissed off, right?
Right. Rick, you are 100% right. Hey, you know what's funny? I was just thinking all three of us have something in common. Soto played for our team, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But Rick is the only one who could say that his team won the World Series with Soto, Chris.
That's right.
You can't say that, and I can't say that yet. But
and we're talking about Soto. Let's bring this up. I want to bring this photo up.
Okay.
Now you met Juan Soto. How was it?
Who the hell's that? Yeah, I was there trying to convince him to stay, and he wasn't listening to me.
Where's that picture from?
They had or maybe they still do, a promotion called Winterfest.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's a weekend, probably in February, March, where you could go and meet players and tour the stadium, walk around the field, look at the weight room, take a couple of swings at batting practice. It's a good idea to get fans interested with the team and connect with the players.
Yeah, that's a nice shot of Soto.
Awesome.
Yeah, that I definitely like that photo. And Chris, that's right before Soto was Soto, meaning money wise,
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't having.
Yeah, that's when he was still pulling down minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Minimum wage. I like to make that minimum wage $750,000 a year.
Yeah.
But it's not true.
It's only 1 year. It was only 1 year, so I don't really. It was like a fling, It was like
Joe Dell. I have to say, Chris, out of most Yankee fans, Chris is like one who said, that's it. He's gone. But Chris, the second he turned that Yankee cap around after the Yankees lost the World Series to the Dodgers, Chris was done with Soto, right, Chris?
Oh yeah. Once Game 5, the game was over. I think he was in the clubhouse or he was on the bench. He turned that hat backwards. So now he was basically a free agent. He wasn't talking like a Yankee. And basically he said, hey, I'm going to talk to every team. I'll be open to every team in free agency, right? So you knew right off the bat he was kind of looking at moving on. The way I look at Juan Soto, and this is for Joe Dell, I think he'd appreciate this. Pitcher, you go on vacation by yourself, right? You go on a nice vacation to some remote island. It's great. And you know what? You're lucky enough to meet someone there. You have a great time while you're there, but you never see that girl again, right? But it was a great time. You enjoyed it. Man, that was awesome. But you're never going to see her again. She was from some other country, so you're never going to, meet her again, right? And that was it. And that's how I look at it. Like Soto was a great time. It was awesome. We almost won we got to the World Series. We didn't win it. We got to the World Series with him, but he's gone. So
But I could add to that, Chris, except then one day you see her again because Soto had to go back to Yankee Stadium. But when you see her, her whole family's there and they're yelling and screaming and booing at you. So.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little different, but that's okay. For me, I've definitely moved on. And I think the majority of Yankee fans, especially now, I mean, we're talking about, a whole season has gone by already. So I think most have moved on.
Yeah, most have, not all though. But listen, no. Rick had him. He won a World Series with Rick's team. What did you feel? How did you feel when they traded him to San Diego? I know at the time you thought you were getting a pretty good, you were getting a pretty good package back from San Diego.
Kind of mixed feelings, but I felt like our fling with him was ending. I think it was clear that we weren't even going to be competitive with if we kept Soto and Trey Turner. There were so many other holes because when we won the World Series, we were old. and so several of those players left. And then it became clear that Soto was going to look for the money anyway. And I think he had turned down a significant contract offer from us. So we might as well get something for him. So my answer to your question is I didn't like it, but I think that was the best thing for them to do.
Yeah, and you're right, because they did make him that offer, which was pretty good for the Nats making an offer. He turned him down. You knew he wanted to go to free agency, test the market. You cannot blame him. So they traded him to San Diego. They got what you thought at the time, a decent, bring back. But it didn't work out. You had to rebuild again. But Soto, then Soto moved on. He went to the Yankees for the year, and then he really went for the big money. And he was going to sign whoever gave him the best deal. Let's face it. If Washington said we're going to give you $850 million, and the years, he would have signed with Washington again. If the Marlins said that, or any team, he would have signed with them. It just happened that the Mets made the best deal. And
he might have wanted. Well, that could be true, but he might have wanted to have that and also have a team that's competitive right now, which the Nats and Marlins wouldn't be.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I think there are plenty of teams that were competitive at the time for a World Series championship and willing to pay that much money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Chris, you want to get into the ABS stuff now?
Yeah. Rick, what are your thoughts on the new ABS system? Because I have some numbers. I just want to throw these up to add to our conversation.
Why don't you talk about it some first?
Okay. So far, through the first 3 games, catchers are 59 and 92. 59 times right out of 92 attempts at the ABS system. Hitters challenged 33 out of 78 they've gotten right. Pitchers only have attempted 5 challenges and they've gotten 2 right. So overall, the numbers are 94 out of 175. So that's a little better than 500.
Yeah,
right?
and yeah. So do you think?
I like it. I'll be honest. Yeah. I'm a fan of it.
I think I think if they can do it quickly, and from what I've seen, they have is a lot better. I think than the NFL sometimes.
Yes.
In looking at a replay,
or even our replays, right? And like a safe call or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go on a little bit too long, but this seems like it's been right away. I think they got it done pretty good, and I like how the crowd, right, kind of gets into it when they showed up on the screen, like they're not. About it and stuff like that with the other this one is right on the screen, so it's kind of cool, and I kind of feel bad for the umps because
I was going to say it's kind of embarrassing for the umps, yeah,
and they're wrong by it's by this much, by an inch, less than an inch.
The ball is thrown 100 miles an hour,
right? So I don't know, I wouldn't be able to call that, so I give them a lot of credit,
Yeah, so, I do too. I agree with you guys. I like it. And as long as it's fast, and it's been fast, it's like right up there. It's great, and I'm glad that they have to. How many seconds do they have to get it? Make the call, Chris. The pitcher, catcher, or batter. They have to do it within like a couple of seconds, right?
I think it's within 2 seconds. If I'm not
that they have to appeal it.
Yeah,
they have to touch their cap like within 2 seconds.
Yeah, right away. So basically, instantly. Boom. And here's the other thing: like if you have the challenges, right, and you don't challenge the call, like don't turn around and give the umpire any talk or anything, or give him a dirty look, because if you really believe that was a bad call, you got a challenge, right?
Oh, so okay. I just thought about that. Is this going to mean fewer ejections?
Oh, I don't know.
Because fewer people. Well, but if you argue balls and strikes, you get thrown out anyway, right?
More or less, yeah. If it gets ugly or whatever, but yeah, I think it'll probably be less, but I still think they'll be there, right? I still think a guy like I know with the Yankees, Aaron Boone, I think he leads the league in ejections. Like he's just, which is great. I'd love to see it. That's kind of old school, but yeah, I think it'll definitely it'll be less because you can't argue it. I mean, the proof is up there, right? It's literally right,
Yeah.
right in front of you, so you can't really argue unless you're out of challenges and it's a close call, and you know a manager or a player is gonna get into it if they don't have challenges for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and
And over this weekend we had our first ejection because of the ABS system, right? Chris, you know what happened.
Yeah.
Minnesota Twins manager Derek Shelton became the first manager to be ejected over the new system in their loss against Baltimore because the Twins were trying to rally on the top of the ninth inning. They had a runner on first with Josh Bell at the plate going up against Met fans love this guy, Ryan Helsley, with one out, and it appeared that he threw a 3-2 pitch outside the zone, issuing a walk, and then that would have put two runners on base. Bell walked to first, and he pointed to his hat, and Shelton said that it was too late. He didn't do it within the 2 seconds, and they still went to it, and then, the Twins lost a call, so he got thrown out. So you have one guy already. It didn't save it actually caused an ejection, Chris.
But it was more than 2 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It was when you looked at it. So he was right, but they got to get this stuff right. And I think it's good to have that as long as they don't start calling every pitch with like a robot or something. And
Yeah. So what is the limit? What you have a certain number of challenges?
Yeah, you have
Two.
two. You get
Okay.
two. If you get it right, you keep that challenge. If you get it wrong, you lose
Okay.
it. You're down to one. And in extra innings, you get one given to you when you have none. So if you go into extra innings and you don't have any, then they give you one challenge
Okay.
after the ninth inning.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't take up too much time.
And remember, only the catcher, the pitcher, and the hitter can challenge. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
it,
Okay.
which is good. Which is good because then it would cause a lot of problems.
You don't want to have the left fielder.
no, it's your fault.
Yeah, really.
I'll be honest. I don't even want the pitcher to doing it because every pitch looks like it's a strike. If you're not looking at a box, right? The catcher frames it so well now. So I don't know how you, as a pitcher, can call for a challenge. I think batters and catchers got a good, obviously I got a good eye for it, but a pitcher, it's got to be tough to challenge.
Yeah, but I don't know. They should. I think they should be able to do it though, Chris. You never know. Sometimes, once in a while, it's obvious that the umpires really mess up a call, and the pitcher is like, the pitcher's going nuts. But
True.
Listen, that's a good thing, and I think we talked about this with Rick already. But this ghost runner has got to go. All right, I cannot stand it. What do you say?
You were yelling about this last year, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Probably the year before that too.
To me, it's like Little League. It's like, how in Major League Baseball could you have like an automatic runner? It's like, I don't know. Rick, what do you think? I know we talked about it, but we weren't on video then. We were just like a little podcast. Now we have a lot more people. So what do you think about the ghost runner?
Well, I don't want to have a game drag on to 16, 17 innings, but I see what you're saying. So I guess I'm a little more against it than for it.
Okay. Just a little more. You don't like the games to go into like 15, 16 innings then.
Yeah, but then again, if you don't have the ghost runner, obviously it's not going to always go to 15, 16. It could be settled in 11, which would be okay with me.
Well, Chris, Chris knows how.
But I know what you mean. It's not traditional. It's not. They didn't earn that spot on second base.
No, it's like, it's like something like Little League. Like it was supposed to be for COVID. I get it for COVID. The same thing. Remember, doubleheaders were only 7 innings, right? Could you imagine if they decided to keep that? That would have been ridiculous too. But Chris hears me yelling about this all the time, but Chris doesn't like it either, right, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I also understand the reasoning behind it. I get it. I understand why they do it. So as much as I don't like it, I understand it. And yeah, I think it's good. I'm I don't know. I could do without it, but I understand why it's there. I just hate that we have to have it. But thank God, and let's hope it doesn't ever come to the playoffs, right? Hopefully, it's just the regular season.
Hey, Rob, is it kind of like when the NHL has 3-on-3 in overtime? Does it have the same bastardization? In your mind?
Yeah,
You could say
yeah,
that.
yes, definitely.
You probably don't like that either.
I'm a traditionalist. It's
Yeah, yeah.
Shootouts and all that stuff. It's just I don't know. I'm a traditionalist.
We kind of said maybe play a couple of innings first in the extra innings. Maybe play 2 or 3 innings, without the ghost runner.
Yeah, there's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe start it in the 12th inning. Or
Can we sign you up for that, Rob?
Chris, no.
Come on. We gotta,
Chris knows I'm going to say that.
That's how we negotiate.
See, Chris came up with that. We've talked about that before. And, listen, I'd rather have that than the ghost runner, in the 10th inning, definitely. Yeah. But I don't know. It's so, if you're tired, don't watch the game. Go to bed.
I don't think it's about the fans. I think it's more about, about using up your bullpen one night. You have an 18-inning game and use up your bullpen. And then the next day, what do you got to, you're kind of screwed. So
too bad. Come on. Where's John D'Acquisto? I need him. I need him here right now.
Yeah, then the next starter has to pitch 9 innings and
right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, I get why, but they're gonna just keep adding this this stuff. It drives me crazy. But all right, Chris, is there anything else you want to ask Rick? We got a couple more minutes with him.
I don't know. All right. Well, since we got you, what are your give us your World Series prediction this year?
Oh yeah,
I got to put you on the spot. So,
I hadn't thought about that. Let me think.
Other than the Dodgers.
Oh, now you're really making it hard.
That's the easy pick, right? The Dodgers are the easy pick.
Okay. I'm gonna go Seattle.
Okay, that's.
And I don't know. Should I go Mets because of you, Rob? Okay,
sure. Yeah, we'll be happy with that.
Seattle Mets. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that because Chris does not want, and I bust his shop. Chris does not want a Subway Series in the World Series. He does not want a Mets Yankees. He can't. He said he's not going to be able to handle that again.
2000 was rough. That was rough on the. That was rough on the baseball soul. 2000.
Okay.
You know why? Because the Yankees go into that series. They can't win it either way, right? If they win, people are going to say, it's you're supposed to win. You're the Yankees. You're supposed to beat the Mets, right? And if they lose, the Yankee fans and everybody Yankee would never hear the end of it for the rest of their life because the Mets would always hold Mets fans.
It's a no-win situation, right? Okay.
Yeah. They're like, we don't care how many championships you have. You didn't beat us in the World Series, so we don't care, right? So that would be forever. So it's tough.
Plus, if that happens, then Chris knows I'm going to be wearing a Mets versus Yankee Subway Series World Series
I'll be honest,
shirt.
I really don't want to see. I know a lot of
Rob's going to like it because it's good for the show.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I have a lot of Met fans that I know, family, close friends like Rob. I really don't want to see them get upset again. If the Yankees I don't want to go through that again. I had to be like,
so considerate of you.
Yeah,
it really is. And
series guys, you played good, but yeah,
maybe maybe he's right because I'll feel bad for him when Soto hits the game-winning home run and Judge does nothing in the World Series against the Mets.
Somebody would tackle Soto, I think. He couldn't score.
But anyway, Rick, thank you. We had such a great time with you. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks. Great time.
We want you to come back. Chris, do you have the graphic for the show we're doing Wednesday? I totally forgot about that. Let's put that up. We're teaming up with the Romantic About Baseball guys on Wednesday. I think it's at 8:00 live. Chris, we've put the graphic up a bunch of times. for a new show called Clearing the Bases with Nick, Jason, me, and Chris. This is going to start this Wednesday night. It's going to be on their network. And are we putting, or is it going to be on ours, Chris? Did we decide yet?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're using our StreamYard, so it'll be on our network.
So
all right, so guys, yeah, you'll be able to watch it on our network. So that's cool. But anyway, so we got that Friday. We're not gonna we're gonna be on Thursday night instead of Friday, right? Is that what we decided, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna do a special Thursday night show. Is it gonna be 9 p.m.? Yeah, at 9 p.m. This is the last 9 p.m., right? And then
the following week we'll go back to Friday nights, but we'll be going back to 10 o'clock just so that we could get into the Friday night game. This way we're not in the middle of a game. It'll be much better.
So Wednesday we have Clearing the Bases. That's going to be good. It's a new show with these guys from Romantic About Baseball. We're on Thursday night at 9 p.m., not Friday night. And then next Monday, regular time, some guest is coming on. I don't know who yet. And the following Friday, we'll go back to 10 o'clock so we could recap the games. And, because they're never over when we start the show on Fridays. Right. And so, yeah. Anyway, thanks, Rick. We really appreciate it.
It's fun, Rick.
And we're glad. And we will see everybody Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Thank you.